Hi guys, I just wanted to say I'm really thankful for all the people that are attending the conference. I'm also very thankful for all the attendees for delivering some great speeches and sharing with us some ideas. And I'm really thankful for all of the organizers for giving me this chance to speak in front of you all. So here we go. So today we're here to talk about Plan B, which is our theme. But my speech is about a successful Plan C, or Plan Z, Plan X, whatever you want to call it, an alternate plan. So, before we go to that, what do you think a Plan A really means? So, does it mean a great job? Does it mean fame? Does it mean fortune? To some people, it might mean having a bunch of kids, grandkids. Maybe your idea of achievement is helping people see the Word of God. Seeing that God is almighty. You might have morality as your achievement, maybe saying to people, gun violence is wrong, we must have gun control, or no to abortion, or yes to abortion. These things can be achievement. However, what if things don't go according to Plan A? Do we quit? Do we keep on pushing? Or do we find another route, like a Plan B? A lot of times when things don't go according to Plan A, some people just think that their future is not there anymore. There's nothing left for me. So what if something like that happens? What about the people on the street that don't even have a plan, that don't have a future? So when we go to Plan B, do we think that a Plan B is as good as Plan A? Or is Plan B and being on Plan B just a reminder that you never got to do Plan A? That you will always be a failure. Okay, go back. So I'm going to the next part, which is successful Plan C. So to even go to a successful Plan C, we have to see if could we even stay on one plan for the rest of our lives? Can we anticipate what happens? Or do we have to sacrifice ourselves to the plan in order for our plan to happen? Do we just give up things? I have a mental illness. I suffer from a mental illness. And my Plan A was to have great grades. I went to UC Berkeley. I graduated. I got a ton of internships at different law firms. And I feel like I was pretty socially adept during the time. However, life changed for me. I got a dual diagnosis after I graduated from college, which means that I have schizoaffective disorder. I have a schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, and I have addiction, meaning that I have schizophrenic thoughts, and I also have bipolar mood disorders, and I also have a strong penchant for doing a lot of drugs. So when I was diagnosed with that, I don't think I could face the reality of having such a thing. I mean, I just like to smoke weed every once in a while. Everyone smokes weed. I did some drugs every once in a while, ecstasy, LSD. And my childhood wasn't that great, right? But these are just normal things. I mean, there's no way that I had gotten to a point where I couldn't trust my brain anymore. So I started thinking to myself, am I broken? Is this just the end? I had the stigma of mental illness being that I was deficient. I wasn't going to have a reason to live on anymore. So I thought, maybe I'm going to just disappear. And it was so much pain that I hid away from everyone else, including myself. So afterwards, I fought to stay alive. I really, really fought. But it wasn't in the same way that you think I would be doing. Instead of fighting it by facing it, I ran away from it. I fought it till the end. And I didn't take medication for a year. I continued moving from place to place, going to live at people's houses. I kept doing drugs. And drugs, if you want to know, is your most strongest ally if you're an addict. You would think that maybe your girlfriend, your brother or your sister, your mom or dad would be the most trustworthy thing in your life. But drugs to a drug addict is the most trustworthy thing. You can abuse it, you can buy it, you can do whatever you want with it. And the drug will always be there to make you feel at least kind of good. So my illness, it became stronger, much, much stronger. I started talking to people in my mind. I started seeing people that weren't there and having conversations with them. And I started believing in things that weren't even real. I became one of those people on the street that you would say, well, that person is just murmuring to themselves. Maybe he's laughing at something for no reason. And that person might be yelling at something that's not even there. That person is just lying on the street, just sleeping. And that was me. That's where my future was headed. I saw that possibility in front of myself. So, with all those things in my mind, I started thinking, well, maybe I'm Jesus Christ. Maybe I'm the King of China. Maybe I am the Son of God. So these things kept me alive. They made me feel like I had control of my life, that I was invincible, because it was my last defense against my own brain. So the reality of it was I lost a place to live. I lost my friends and family, and I lost any ability to take care of myself. I didn't have health insurance from my parents because they said, you're crazy, you don't need it, just quit your drugs, that's it. I couldn't hold on to a job. I was trying to go to jobs from job to job. I was taking medication sometimes. I couldn't even concentrate. And everyone that was around me left me. Even the people that aren't even good for me, they left me. So drugs became my prerogative, and delusions became my truth, meaning that everything was just a lie almost. I could only hang on to life and just hope for the best. So, describing all of that, how did I get from there to stand in front of all of you today? How did I come from being one of those dudes on the street to being here and presenting a TED Talk in front of you? Well, I just think I'm one of the lucky people that were able to do that. And I can't logically define to you exactly the steps of how I got here. However, I think I could tell you guys about what helped me. And that thing is something called the gift of faith. And this gift of faith was from my sister, who's sitting up there with me, sitting up there and listening to this. It was because there was someone that I truly loved and someone that truly loved me back, and they believed in who I am inside of me. A person that, after having the illness and all the drugs, I gave up on that person a long time ago. That person wasn't me anymore. But she continued to see that that was who I really am. And so, because of that, and all the Saturdays she would take me out to just get a sandwich and walk around Silver Lake so I could still feel like a cool guy, I started thinking, I had this one thought. I remember walking out of a sandwich shop with her. I was like, whoa, maybe Anne Hathaway is not my wife, and I don't have to constantly think that she's my childhood love. This one single thought was this click, and it became my greatest tool, because I started to think, maybe my delusions aren't real. Maybe it could be a false reality. So I took small steps forward, and I quit drugs, and I went to MA, NA, AA, all these different meetings. I started seeing a drug counselor, and I worked on my sobriety. Right now, I still, whenever I'm stressed right now, I want to go outside and smoke a cigarette, but I don't, because that's part of my sobriety. I started giving myself to therapy. I went every week. My therapists were great. Even if I was high out of my mind, I would still go. They would still talk to me. They let me talk about my life. I started taking medication consistently. My sister and I, we did a lot of research. I tried this drug, I tried that drug. I kept trying until I got a perfect combination that would match my symptoms. And I started creating a support network around myself. I started having friends, family, coworkers that were different than what I had before. They believed in me, and they believed that I would be able to have a future. I would be able to be a normal person and live a good life. So because I started healing, I started finally seeing myself. I started seeing that I was an honest person, that I was really kind, and I actually was able to get back some of my sense of humor that I had thought I'd lost a long time ago. So I started separating myself from my mental illness. So if you see these pictures here, I was doing face masks with my sister because I started having a lot of bad acne because of taking this drug called lithium. When I started talking to my mom more, and I said Happy New Year to her, and she's like, for all of us? And I'm like, yeah, for all of us. And she's always really good with those stickers on like WeChat and all that, so really good. The last one is a picture, is a text between me and my drug counselor, and now he's my coworker. His name's Joe, and I said, thanks for giving me a new life, man, and helping me find that job. And he said he loves me too. This is like a 65-year-old, 30-year heroin addict, Latino, working in an Asian mental health facility. But that guy helped me a lot too. So I recovered, or I am still in recovery. I think that's very true. I shouldn't have said that. But I'm still recovering. And I started doing things I never thought I would do. After I trained, I became a peer advocate at the center, the same company as where I received treatment. And I started helping people out. And I started taking risks that were calculated into helping my future, and not just taking risks to be like, oh, it's 1 a.m., I'm going to call someone up, I'm going to go out, I'm going to have a good time, I'm going to drink. Sometimes that's fun, you got to do that, but I don't drink, I drink soda. But, I wasn't going to do it every Saturday to see if I could meet some girl that I wanted to see, or what girls were out there, or whatever's. So after doing these things, people started to believe in me. My boss started believing in me. My coworkers believed in me. My friends, my family started believing in me. And then I started seeing that I started believing in myself, that Berkeley, all the high school sad times, and all my ideals started springing out. Because I used to be a guy that loved people. I was really depressed during high school, but I remembered what kept me alive was seeing people out there that were helping other people. And I wanted to be like that at one point. And this time, it was an opportunity to finally give in to my ideals, to actually stand up for my ideals. So if you could go back one second. So that's me in the middle, and my boss is next to me. She's the more elder lady. And we're all together at a Halloween thing. The guy that's wearing a dress on the right side, he was one of our clients, and he very staunchly is a type of transvestite that still likes women. So I told him, I would wear a dress for Halloween if you do too. So we made a pact, and I didn't wear a dress, but I am wearing a bra under that. I went to the flea market, I bought a pink bra, and I stuffed it with socks, and I went to work. And these people down here are all my coworkers. My boss is right there, and they are an integral part to how I am recovering today. So you can ask, what got me here now? My daily schedule to fight back was going back to school to get a drug and alcohol certificate, which my coworker, Joe, and drug counselor told me to do, and I thought it was a good way to use my time. I started waking up every day at 5 a.m. to run, hike, or even run and hike. So physical health is really important to how your mental health can be. It creates chemicals, there's dopamine, serotonin, all these things help your mind become healthier. I also started developing a philosophy about mental health, one that was not only true to myself, but also adapted from the people that I respected, and also school. So I'd wake up in the morning, exercise, go to work, then go to school at night. I started eating healthier, just like our other presenter was here talking about. I didn't quit meat, but I started eating non-GMO fruits and vegetables, organic everything. I even dove into the gluten-free things because I've heard gluten is not good for people who have mental disorders. So I started having a healthy social life too, a kind of life that was about my health and my future instead of comparing myself to other people or just drawing out time so that I could smoke more drugs. So my life is about this. This is called the recovery model, which is part of the philosophy of my mental health advocacy. So according to the recovery model, it is compared to the medical model that was created during the 1980s. The medical model kept people in their diagnoses, in hospitalization, and labeling them as invalid people, people that didn't matter. You just keep them in boarding homes, you slap a label on them, they got nothing in their life, they're mentally ill. And the recovery model is teaching people that mental illness is just a condition. It has nothing to do with the person. It could be mental illness is the same as diabetes, it's the same as cancer. It doesn't change who the person is inside. So every individual deserves to have education if they want it. They want to learn stuff. They can go to work if they want. They can volunteer. If they want a family, they can have a family. I remember when I first started working, there was this older gentleman that was talking to me, and he said, well, we can't have kids, right? Because, I mean, I don't want to pass on my illness to the next generation. I don't want my son or my daughter to have a mental illness. And that's the staunch reality of what people have with mental illness. So I started believing in this theory that my boss started talking about, and it's called pizza theory. I thought we were going to have pizza today, huh? No pizza? Okay. But the pizza theory is about one slice. Let's just say that pepperoni with mushroom slice. I know I'm making you all hungry. But that pepperoni and mushroom slice is mental illness. The rest of it is the rest of the person. So that the sausage with the green peppers, that could be them being an awesome singer. The other slice over there with the onions, maybe that can mean that guy dresses really well. Or that, I don't know, olive one, that might be able to mean that person's a really funny person. They have a lot of jokes. They're never serious about life. So, recovery model is about no judgment. That a person who has mental illness still has life, still has a soul. So, it goes to successful plan C. So what is my speech about for successful plan C? It's about plan C being better than any plan A. That finding meaning is about knowing yourself and pushing forward for all the things that you actually desire. Having a mental illness taught me to separate my negative feelings that might have spurned into a life that I didn't want and turning into this person that I really did want to be. I kept track of all my symptoms and understanding all the things that go on within myself, but these things are easily done and are done by everyone who doesn't have a mental illness. You have to figure out who you are to be able to move forward. And that's a lot about self-care, which is something in the industry. It's very important to take care of yourself before you could take care of another person. Or else you're just, putting the oxygen mask on the kid, and then you don't have oxygen mask, and then you're just gone. So I wanted to talk about what my life is now compared to what that plan A is. Now, my mental illness, which I thought was a dead-end path, has become my greatest credential to be able to help other people who have mental illnesses. I started to influence the mental health field in Los Angeles by going to speaking engagements like this one, at conferences, at meetings, at everything. I started showing up to meetings that professionals and directors of different mental health agencies went to. I started inspiring other people to go to these meetings as well. I actually became a co-chair of a DMH-sanctioned subcommittee that helped people have mental health treatments that were based on cultural identity. So it's called the API USCC Cultural Committee. It's right there, API USCC. And it has $100,000 each year for a project, and I am incremental in helping to design those projects so that people who are of Asian descent have cultural appropriate services for mental health in Los Angeles. So I just wanted to tell everyone that you have infinite options in life. Even if you have no options at all, you're able to do something, whatever you want to do, if you really love it. And you don't have to sacrifice everything for a plan A. You don't have to compare yourself for anything in a plan A. Through a successful plan C, I found my life's calling, and I started helping those people. And I started to discover that there's so many ways to live. There are just too many ways that you can live your life, especially when you start knowing and understanding yourself. And now after people have been a rock for me in my life, I started to understand that I could be a rock for other people. So if people needed to talk, I would hear them out. If people were lost, I would be there so that they have somewhere to belong. If they're alone, I will sit there with them. And I am there if they need to share something that is a deep, dark secret, which we all have. If they want me to share that, I'll share some with them. So, my definition of a person who can do a successful plan C or just move forward in their life, being honest with themselves and knowing themselves, people can find who they are in even dark times. Dark times actually allow you time to be able to find yourself. People can find meaning even when they think the whole world doesn't even care about them. And sometimes people just need someone to understand and believe in them, be it friend, family, social worker. And they need someone to let them know that the world can be a really crappy place. And if they weren't there, it would be drastically different. And I realized that there's no one on this planet that is exactly like one of you guys. There is no one. You are special. And you are irreplaceable. And you are the only one that can show this world just who you are and what you believe in. Only you can do that. No one else. It is your responsibility. So I want to end this with this Mr. Rogers quote, someone I really loved when I was younger, and I still love now. If you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet, how important you can be to the people you may never even dream of, there is something within yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. So hopefully you guys go out there and be awesome. Thank you very much for this opportunity.